All right, who's drunk from the trade deadline?
No,
Mentally.
Hungover.
Yeah, hungover. Trade deadline was drunk in a good way. Ken Rosenthal said it was one of the most exciting trade deadlines that he's ever covered.
Really?
Ken's covered a lot of them.
He has covered a lot of them.
At least a quarter century of Ken coverage.
Yeah. Oh, look, we're on TV.
Oh, yeah, we are.
We were.
Yeah. We were on yesterday, and we're on every single weekday. Plus, shout out to the online crowd that was watching. We had our highest numbers ever.
Yep. The trade deadline was a lot of people, but not a lot of huge names. Correa, right? But none of the giant names we thought. Alcantara, Cease.
Well, just starting pitching held.
Starting pitching didn't.
Mason Miller moved.
Not a lot
Duran
of position
moved.
players either.
Yeah, but there weren't many available.
No, I guess you're right.
Eugenio Suarez moved.
Yeah.
Quan didn't.
Juan didn't.
They don't have to
Correa
move
was the
him.
one.
Yeah.
Correa saved the day yesterday.
Did he? I don't think so. You
As
think
far
he
as
doesn't get moved?
Mason Miller saved the day.
AJ Preller saved the day.
Yes.
AJ Preller, one man day saver.
I was worried about AJ because I'm always worried about AJ. And at the start of yesterday's 5.5-hour marathon, he said he was going to have attention span issues. And I asked him if we got a trade every 30 to 60 minutes of decent significance, if that would keep him on the show. And that was the agreement, and he stayed.
Yeah, I only had to go for one. I had to take one phone call.
Yeah, and it was legit. Confirmed.
It was a legit phone call.
Confirmed. It was legit. It was a source.
Yes.
We have sources. Sometimes people don't realize we have sources. We've been in the game for a long time.
Yeah.
We say things that sometimes are just our opinion, but often it's informed opinion. Just throwing that out there. Sometimes people disagree with me on things like the Mets getting Cedric Mullins. Got into it with some Mets fans on YouTube, and I was like, maybe I know something.
They got him.
Yeah. Anyway, let's recap, and then later we're going to go over trade grades. We're going to talk to Bob Nightengale later. We're still doing a full-fledged trade deadline hangover show coming your way. About 100 prospects were dealt. I think about 50 trades. There's a lot to get to. Let's charge.
Charging the mound.
This is just overall takeaways from what you saw. You know who, and this was past the show, you know who got a little extra cash? Jordan Montgomery, trade bonus.
So I don't understand. So did the Diamondbacks just eat his money just to get him out of the clubhouse? I mean, is he really even around? I don't know.
But he's not pitching, and
No, I
then he's
know.
a free agent
So why would the Brewers take on his salary?
as part of the deal to get Shelby Miller.
So they just took on $20 million? What's Jordan Montgomery making?
He's
I bet they
making a lot.
It doesn't make sense to me. Why would the Brewers do that? They wanted Shelby Miller that bad, they take on that money and not get a player?
No, I'm sure that they ate most of the money.
The Diamondbacks?
Probably. Right, Kratz? Probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Brewers don't take on money like that.
And I think the Brewers took on the rest of Shelby Miller's money. I have no idea what it is, but that's where I think
It can't be
they
that
were
much.
probably. It can't be much, but I also think they could. Scott and I were talking about before the show. I think it could be like a Big Woo situation. Monty, hey, we've rehabbed this. We've done this with Wade Miley. We did this with Big Woo. Like, hey, we'll maybe negotiate, see how your recovery's coming. We'll rehab you through this process, and we'll give you kind of like that 2-year with a hook kind of thing, or 1 year with a hook kind of contract. Might be an easy way to get him in the fold for next year.
I think that's smart.
Yeah.
You get a first-hand look at him. And one team did not want him in the org.
No, they did
That was
not want him
it was
anywhere.
personal.
They did not want him anywhere around that place.
It's not like he's a bad guy. They just had beef, and the owner was not pleased with how things worked out. And it's his team, so he gets to do what he wants. I give credit to the Padres ownership group for letting AJ Preller cook. Now, he wasn't given a lot of leeway with adding money. Yeah, but still, I mean, he got rid of a third of their farm system in terms of actual valuable prospects, which is usually looked at as your top 30. He gave about a third of those top 30 prospects away, a total of 22 prospects traded away by AJ Preller. And Kratz, I can see by your facial expression you're freaking out. Are you going to tell me how most of these guys didn't cost anything?
Yes. They didn't cost anything. You think the ownership group that's there right now, I don't know how invested they are or the executor of the state is invested. Do you think they care which of the guys in the minor leagues that somehow, in their eyes, AJ Preller keeps replenishing and keeps dishing away? Do you think they care? Like, oh man,
Yes.
I can't believe it. You think they do? You think that executor of the estate cares?
So this is actually a good inside baseball moment. We have been critical of certain front offices that don't push their chips in, and we'll get to some of those front offices later.
Mm-hmm.
But let's not act like they're the lone actors. Everything is done by one control person on a team, and that control person often is hugging prospects as well. Kratz, now they get advice from their front office executives, but they have to buy into that too, because ultimately it's their team, and they can say, hey, I'm the owner of the Cubs, or I'm the owner of the Red Sox, and I understand you're saying the 12th prospect is going to be the next big thing, but history tells me no. So I'm going to disagree with you and you work for me. So you do have to be on the same page to an extent. And Padres ownership said, yeah, you know what you're doing. You've done a great job of developing prospects. You deal away and grow them back.
Okay, that's fair. Because the one prospect that he kept, Rookie of the Year, Jackson Merrill. Or could have been Rookie of the Year, Jackson Merrill.
Right. He kept a potential star.
Mm-hmm. And extended.
He traded away a potential
I
star
have
this
no
time
problem
around.
with what the Padres did because can we put that board up there again? How many prospects did they trade away? Can we put the board?
22.
Okay, and how many? Can we put the board up of who they
got
back? Let's count those guys.
And read
8
them out.
guys? Was it 8 guys they got back? 7 guys?
7.
Is it 7?
7 bona fide big league guys. 1, 2, 3,
Yes.
4, 5. That's 7 bona fide big leaguers. 7 for 22 prospects. 21 of them probably ain't going to do anything in the big leagues. They might make it. They might have a year or two, but they ain't going to. Maybe the DeVries kid is something, okay? But the rest of those guys, adios, muchachos. If I'm a player on the Padres, I'm like, adios, muchachos.
Chihuahuas.
Yeah, adios, Chihuahuas. See you
AAA
later. We
team.
got Mason Miller, Sears, O'Hearn, Laureano.
Controllable guys.
Yes,
Controllable
that's the thing.
besides O'Hearn. And
I have no
besides
problem
O'Hearn,
with what the Padres did. And they traded their 1, 3, 7, 9, 12. No team has 30 prospects, okay? Let's get serious. No team has 30 prospects.
And their farm system did not rank
I mean,
that
okay,
highly
the DeVries kid, and then 2 I'm assuming was Ethan Salas in there, and he didn't get traded because he's been hurt for a whole year, right? And then I don't know who the rest of them are, but I don't care. No team has 30 prospects. And the Padres have been trading prospects away for years. And you know what they keep doing? Ethan Salas is now their number 1 prospect, and whoever was not traded next highest is now their number 2 prospect. And they move right on up. And you know what Preller will do next year? If he has the opportunity, he'll trade all them suckers away too and get more big league players. So good for you, Preller.
And look at his position player group. Most of them are locked into contracts for a very long time. So if they don't work out, they got problems regardless, but they're not getting replaced, right? First base, Cronenworth, locked in for a long time. Bogart, second base, locked in for a long time. Same with Machado. Same with Tatis. Same with Jackson Merrill. They don't have that many spots open. Catcher, okay. They picked up a catcher in Fermin, who could be a part of the mix for a long time, and Salas is there in the minors. Their bullpen's disgusting.
I mean, come on. That bullpen is filth.
On paper, that's one of the nastiest bullpens I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to understand exactly what AJ said. No organization has 30 prospects. We used to joke when we were in the minor leagues. The 30 prospects would come out, Baseball America, everybody would read it, be like, I was 31. Had they just expanded it, I was 31. You know, someone who's 29 is like, yeah, I made it. And we were like, nah, better be 31.
I mean, yeah, no team has 29 prospects. I'm sorry.
Probably not even 9 prospects. And the Padres got rid of 9 of them. So other teams were like, oh, man, we got their 9th best prospect of all the guys they traded. No.
I don't know. I give them credit, though. They're trying.
They are.
Preller tries, man. I give you credit, Preller. You try hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope it works out for you because I think it's awesome. I think it's great. And listen, the teams that tried and didn't hoard their prospects, the Phillies, the same ones. The Mets, right? Those teams didn't
Yankees.
hoard their prospects. The Mariners threw a bunch of prospects at the Diamondbacks for Suarez and Naylor. Good for you.
Yankees gave up a bunch of prospects too.
Who?
Yankees.
Good for you.
But the thing is, almost all of the teams you just mentioned maintained the guys that they think have a shot to really click.
Be good.
The only one that
It's
didn't
DeVries.
was
DeVries.
Preller with DeVries. In my mind,
Yeah.
yes. There's other guys that have some potential, but the only one in my mind that looks like he's got the superstar potential that might really hurt is Leo DeVries. A lot of nice players that could make it, could
That's what
not.
I'm saying. You think the 37th prospect of the Padres, they're like, darn it, we lost him.
No.
Not one person knows. No, even the organization, even the prospect people that are out there on Twitter and in the internet, the 37th prospect, great, cool.
He's sitting
Cool,
there.
we can get another one tomorrow.
Correct. And also Preller's sitting there going to say a scout who's talking up that player who's, the third best third baseman in their system. And he's going, oh, where's he going to play? Where's he going to play in a couple of years? You're going to play third for Manny? Manny's still going to be there for
He's
what?
there for like 9 more years.
Yeah. I'm like, good for you.
I texted a GM yesterday after it, like, time for a nap. And he just said, Preller is impressive. So if you're one of the 30 dudes that has the same job as you says you are impressive, hats off to AJ Preller.
Why?
He's a real AJ.
Yeah.
Agreed. All the AJs are G's. But I just don't understand why, Preller does these things, right? But then you have the other side of it that the fans are annoyed. The Cubs, the Red Sox, right? Where were they?
We're going to play
the
sound
Brewers, we can
later.
throw the Brewers in there. I mean, they're going to say Vaughn and Priester and Jansen. But, I mean, I'm talking like impact guys. I mean, although Andrew Vaughn's been unbelievable since he got there. So, we'll see. But you know what I'm saying? Like, those guys had prospects too.
The one that drove me nuts, and again, we're going to get into it later because we're going to talk about the quotes, to just hear some of the responses from Craig Beslow and the Red Sox. It's very frustrating for fans to listen to that. Like that you're trying hard. It's cringe. It's cringe. We'll get to it, though. I want to save it. I'm really excited about the segments today. We're going to do one just on the GMs explaining their decision-making. We're going to do one on the grades. We have grades. Jim Bowden has grades. We'll grade his grades. But coming up next, USA Today's Bob Nightengale, who was all over the trade deadline. He'll join us next. Hey, we're back. The other guy who made a lot of money during this trade deadline, who we talked about a lot yesterday, but we'll give him some love right here. Luis Robert probably gets 1 year, $10 million in free agency. I was trying to do some math on where he'd stack, and I saw some comps. Right, like Bader often gets a deal like that. Yeah. He's a much higher floor. Obviously, they're different players. But unless Robert goes nuts the last month and a half of the season, it's been a long time since he's been a star bat. 2023.
You know what's incoming now?
What?
There'll be certain people in the chat saying, well, in July, he's hit 330 with 12.
Yeah, in 3 weeks' time.
4 stolen
That's
bases.
great. I'm not saying he's a bad player. My thing is, right now, if he's on the free agent market, he gets a 1 year, $10 million contract. And the White Sox just publicly said he's getting a $20 million option picked up, as long as he's healthy, right? They're going to come to the offseason and say,
how can you look and say,
here's $20 million just because we're stubborn and we didn't get the prospect that we wanted.
No.
Especially for a team that needs new blood and needs to bring in a lot of people, right? Because if you listen to Chris Getz's press conference yesterday, what did he say? We're picking up Robert's option because we love him, and we're going to have money to spend. So you're going to pick up a $20 million option just because you couldn't get the fourth best prospect of some team, and that's going to cost you $20 million. You could maybe get 2 decent players for $20 million.
Yeah, it's a really tough sell. You don't think they're going to do it, Kratz? You think they're saying it now, and then in the offseason they're going to say, oh, something changed? And then they're going to get nothing for him. Nothing. After all this time.
I don't think it's even a cold take. But maybe it is because of what Getz said. I just have a hard time seeing. Look who's gotten $20 million a year, even for 1 year, in free agency the last few years.
It's a small list.
It's a small list.
By the way, this guy Nad, whoever you are, said bad take on Robert. You guys said that mediocre prospects don't matter. That's all you could get. Well, if you're the White Sox, you need all the prospects you can get right now because Luis Robert ain't helping you win. He's been terrible for 2 years. If you can get anything from him, you get it.
This is
Instead
a
of paying
huge
him
difference.
$20 million.
Okay, we're talking about the Padres contending, having all of their spots locked up,
and using the prospects to get real big league players.
Yes, the White Sox have nothing, and they need to get anything they can get. And also, nobody here said don't get anything for a player. Don't get anything for a player? That's what you want to do?
They're doubling down. They're saying we didn't get anything, and we're going to pay him again to sit on the bench for half the season.
Hey, we've got Bob Nightengale from USA Today looking nice and fresh, like you got some rest. Bob, great job on the coverage yesterday.
Bob the question.
You want to start there?
Bob, what do you think about, should the White Sox have moved Luis Robert Jr., or should they say, oh, we're going to pick up his $20 million option?
Absolutely should have moved him. Even for a bag of balls, you move the guy. They were asking for way too high. And we can do it. Throw bad money after bad money. It makes no sense to throw $20 million. Then if he sits, he's hurt all next year too, he can do the same thing. Don't move him at the deadline and then pick up the option for another $20 million. Makes no sense to keep him.
Bingo. I like this guy. I like that, Bob. We're all on the same page. We're like, tell us we're crazy, and nobody's telling us we're crazy. So let's go over winners and losers. You put those out. We'll start there. Let's start on the positive side. You want to run through some of your winners? I see your list, but where do you want to start? Like the winner that you're most excited about?
Well, sort of the Padres. I mean, they're going after the Dodgers once again. Traded away 22 minor leaguers. And the way, A.J. Preller figures it, hey, we got a draft for a reason. We got scouts. We'll get more. And we'll keep doing the same thing year after year. I love the fact they were that aggressive. They didn't trade Cease. They didn't trade Suarez. They kept going after it. So, no, they're the biggest winner in my book by far.
I see the Astros on here. What about the Astros? What did you think of their trade deadline? And I know you were reporting a lot on the whole Carlos Correa situation, which I'm sure was a fun roller coaster ride for you.
Yeah, I was stunned, at the beginning they even had interest in Correa with all the money, he's got. He's not had good performance in Minnesota. And I didn't believe it for a while. It's like, God, I kept hearing calls from different guys. So I finally checked, and it's, we're checking in. Originally, 50% of it. Still, the Twins end up paying $33 million. I mean, really what happened, the Twins changed the whole trade market by dumping everybody. It's a shock they didn't move Joe Ryan too, but I thought the fact to get Correa for a lot less dirt cheap price right now. They almost got Dylan Cease. They got outfield help, so I like what they did a lot. Dana Brown had a nice deadline.
Bob, you mentioned the Twins. I know you used to cover the Twins a lot up in Minneapolis. Your son still covers the Twins. What the heck were they doing? And should Twins fans be as angry? I know Derek Falvey put out a letter that this is a step to the World Series or whatever his letter said and signed it to all the Twins season ticket holders. But, I mean, they just cleaned house, right? For a team that won a playoff series 2 years ago. Yeah,
I mean, even with the Astros, that deal ended up being between the Pohlad family and Jim Crane. It wasn't with the GMs. It's like, hey, you guys are, $440 million in debt. You guys really lost $40 million. Don't you want to dump this contract? Then they just changed their minds. So, okay, let's dump everybody. That's the biggest fire sale in baseball history for a single day. It's unbelievable. So, the Twins can't be sold fast enough. I mean, that franchise, they're ruining that franchise, the Pohlad family. They got to dump it fast because the public's got to be furious up there.
I had read somewhere, and I've read too many different things, so I'm not sure where it came from. It said, had the Clase news come out about the non-disciplinary restriction list, had that not come out, would the Twins have still dumped the same amount of guys? Because they said it wasn't, Duran then became way more valuable and they were able to start the cavalcade of just getting rid of money.
No, I don't think that had anything to do with it, Erik. I really don't. I think it was just a situation where once Jim Crane called Pohlad and said, hey, you guys need to dump money, in the front office had kind of asked ownership, and you want to dump or not? And they said dump. And so ownership there kind of changed everybody's mind, saying, okay, let's strip this franchise. So, I mean, it certainly helped. I mean, they got more for Duran than they thought they would. That's why all these relievers got moved. Athletics had no intention of trading Mason Miller, but when you get that kind of return, you got no choice. So I just think it was an ownership decision, like, let's strip this thing down to bones, and then now we can sell the team for the price we want.
Hey, Bob, one more on the Astros that I thought you covered well was what didn't happen and their pursuit of Dylan Cease. I mean, that was a hot topic for 24 to 48 hours, and I saw your tweet after the trade deadline about the asking price. So can you tell us what happened there and your thoughts on if they should have tried to get it done?
Well, they were in on it, and they were kind of optimistic for a while. The Astros were. And then, they thought that the asking price changed and went from Spencer Arrighetti and 3 prospects. And then the Astros' mind is like, wait a minute now. We like Arrighetti's going to come back. We like him better than Dylan Cease. Cease is just a rental. So then it became a no-brainer to turn it down. And, the Padres, early in the morning when they made that trade with Mason Miller, I think the speculation was, okay, Cease goes because we don't have money. Suarez goes. They had no intention of Suarez. They were never trading him. And they really didn't want to trade Cease either. They're really saying, you know what? Our window's closing here. We got to go for this thing at least one more time.
You had Reds on your winners list. Can you give us a little bit of an explanation of why you felt like the Reds were winners at the deadline?
I just like the fact that they went for it. I mean, not huge. If the hitting coaches can turn around and get Brian Hayes, that's a big thing. The Diamondbacks are upset. They wanted to move, Eugenio Suarez there. So they got to, come on, you're going to take Hayes over Suarez? Well, Suarez did not get nearly the attention they thought they would. So, yeah, just by getting him, getting the outfielder helps too. At least they're going for it. And they, of course, got Paddock, starting pitcher. So I like the fact that they didn't just sit pat like a lot of teams. They said, let's go for it. It wasn't a massive get, but it was nice additions.
You mentioned Brian Hayes. Why would the Reds take that contract on with the last couple of years offensively that he's had? Why did the Reds take that on?
I think they're just hoping like, okay, we can turn them around. Obviously, they're playing a bandbox. If you can't hit in Cincinnati, you can't hit anywhere. But I think that that starting rotation is so good and talented. It's like let's help them out with defense. We'll turn that defense into run production that way. But I just think they can turn them around. Where if you're Pittsburgh, it was underwater contract, dump them from what they did. So Pittsburgh was ecstatic to move them.
I want to hit some more teams on your losers list. Let's go to the Red Sox. The Red Sox and Cubs, I feel like, get bunched together. We're going to cover them later. I want to get your take on those two and if you thought they were close to getting anything done and why they're so hesitant when they had prospect capital to make a move for a starting pitcher.
Yeah, teams hate dealing with the Red Sox. They said it's just very tough to deal with Beslow. Diamondbacks had some momentum going with Merrill Kelly, and that fell apart at the end. I don't think they were ever really in on Joe Ryan. There was some report that was done. I'm not sure they even had conversations. But when you talk to GMs around the game, said it's very tough to deal with the Red Sox and Craig Breslow in particular. And if they're really going for it, they did a poor job because the Yankees got a whole lot better. Blue Jays got better. So I think they're going to be on the outside looking in. I think the fact they didn't do anything, they may be sitting home and the Texas Rangers take their place as that wild card team.
Oh, all right. Well, what about where Breslow came from, the Cubby Bears? Bob, I mean, they made some minor moves.
Yeah.
They didn't, they made some smaller moves, but they didn't make it. And then they DFA Ryan Presley after the move. So what were they doing? Did Breslow learn from Jed Hoyer? Like, hoard prospects, and the prospect is worth $10,000, so we don't want to give up that $10,000. Like, what the heck happened in Cubbyville?
Yeah, GMs are asking the same. Like, how can you be all in and go get Kyle Tucker at the trade deadline when you got a chance to be good and you have a chance for a World Series? You do absolutely nothing. So everybody's asking the same question. And the one intriguing thing is, Jed Hoyer just got his contract extension. If he had not got that extension, would he have been a lot more aggressive trying to, finish strong, finish first place and going deep in October? Now you have security. You're almost looking at your prospects like, yeah, I'm going to be around for a couple of years. I don't want to trade those prospects away. So they went for a team that had, maybe the best chance to go to the World Series in the National League. So, reality is they're probably only the fifth or sixth best team in the National League right now.
The Giants. You had them on the loser list. Do you feel like maybe the trade deadline kind of snuck up on them because they've started to play poorly and they were like a team that got Rafael Devers? So it's like, oh, we must be in a buy mode. And all of a sudden, the poor play down the stretch kind of led to their kind of trade deadline?
Yeah, I mean, here's a month ago, they're all in, going for Devers and how aggressive going to be at the deadline, and then just selling, saying, you know what, we got no chance. Obviously, the Adames contract so far has been a disaster. Verlander hasn't worked out. They must really not have liked Duvall for him just, throw him away at the Yankees when he still has years of control. So it'll be an interesting offseason. I think it's going to be interesting the last 2 months. I know they just picked up the option of Bob Melvin's contract, but what are they going to do if they just keep playing this poorly down the stretch? That franchise could go either way as far as buy or sell because they didn't get much of the deadline at all in their moves.
Bob, a couple other losers. They're close to each other. The Brewers, who didn't do much. Yes, they got Andrew Vaughn, Priester, Jansen. I get all that before the deadline, but I thought they had a chance to strike. And with the Cubs not doing much, they're in first place, but they could have maybe made a move. And in the team 2 hours south, the White Sox. We already kind of talked about Robert, but some of their other guys, Savale could have been moved. There's some other guys they probably could have made some moves for. They didn't. What happened to these two teams?
Yeah, the Brewers, just stayed pat. I mean, every time we rip them, they always take off. They always have a bad winter, and then you look up and they're in playing October. So I thought their trade there to get Shelby Miller was almost a panic move. Like, my God, we better do something. It's going to look stupid. So they took a lot of money, and they took on Jordan Montgomery's contract too. Diamondbacks chipped in $2 million of it, but just to have Shelby Miller, who's a nice reliever, but not a stud guy. But yeah, just I think the Brewers fans, frustration is that they always get in the playoffs, but they don't have that team to go all the way. So they're lucky, the Cubs didn't do anything. Then with the White Sox, to go back to Luis Robert, just not trading him was a disaster. Should have got more for those guys. You talk to Jams, they get frustrated dealing with Chris Getz too. So they kind of stood pat. But I think the Robert thing. They should have traded him in the winter for one. They had to trade him now. I don't think they can pick up that option. I think it's stupid to throw another $20 million down the drain. If anybody thought he was any good, they would have grabbed him. I mean, they were begging the Philadelphia Phillies to trade him and trade to him, and the Phillies had no interest. I mean, everybody sees the same thing. The guy rarely plays. I don't care how much talent you have. Anthony Rendon's got talent too, but he's not playing. So what good is it?
Agreed. All right, one more on the Brewers. Why did they get the Montgomery? Did the Diamondbacks just want him out that quickly? Like, the Diamondbacks were just like, all right, we're out of this. And the other thing for the Brewers is, I know they got Vaughn, and I know, again, we'll go back to that. Vaughn's been great for them. But Suarez would have looked so good in their uniform at third base just for this year, and is making the playoffs enough for the Brewers to keep their fans happy, because they make the playoffs, lose in the first round, make the playoffs. I know they had the one deep run, but they make the playoffs, lose in the first round. Is that enough to keep the fans in Milwaukee happy?
No, they were very upset during the spring because they didn't do anything during the winter. Saying, what are we doing here? We, let Adames walk, trade away Devin Williams. But, here they are still sitting in first place. But, yeah, I think with the Montgomery thing, he's done for the season. Remember, he had Tommy John surgery. So all they did was, okay, so we don't have to give a prospect back for Shelby Miller. We'll take on the money. So the Diamondbacks were just dumping payroll. I originally had Diamondbacks in that list. They had a bad trade deadline too. I mean, you had all these pieces. Zach Gallen never got any offers for him really. So now they're kind of they're stuck with him. They're trying to move him. They're going to give him a qualifying offer just to keep him around. But they didn't get much at all for the other guys. And they were stunned how little action they got in Suarez. They wanted to move him desperately, but nobody was giving him anything. Wasn't a good market for position players. As a few GMs have told me, the trade deadline, you never get much for position players. Remember when JD Martinez got moved to the Diamondbacks years ago? They gave up a bag of balls for the guy. So Suarez, they were very disappointed that the Yankees didn't go after him. And then when the Reds went to Hayes, instead of going after him, that the market for him cratered.
Hey, I'll bring up another team that I thought should have been involved for Geno Suarez. What did you think of the trade deadline for the Detroit Tigers? I saw a lot of quantity that would maintain depth for the next couple months. But are they aware that once you get to October, it's nice to have a high leverage arm, a right-handed power bat? I just thought they missed the boat for me.
Yeah, me too. GMs you talk to, echo the same sentiment. Like here's a team a chance to go to the World Series, and you didn't get that big time arm. It's an opportunity. You're going to have Scooble for one more year after this, and that's it. Casey Mize is there. Flaherty may be walking after this year too. So yeah, I'm with you. And the asking price for Suarez was low. They should have grabbed Suarez. He would have been perfect there. I think too many teams were worried about Suarez batting average. They can be a streaky hitter, and defense isn't the best, but still to have a power hitter like that, 36 home runs, 87 ribbies, it's a rare opportunity. So yeah, I agree, Scott, is that they should have done more than that.
Obviously, I love division battles, and when the trade deadline hits, then National League East, the Mets and the Phillies. It's a division battle to see who can win the division and get that first round bye. Who won out of the trade deadline? Because the Mets added more bullpen pieces plus that center fielder, and the Phillies added their coveted closer, in my opinion, probably the best closer available. Plus they had, they have years of control with them, and they got their center fielder. So who do you feel won between the two of those?
I was leaning toward the Phillies until I started talking to GMs, and they said clearly the Mets. They like what the Mets did. In fact, they said, why don't the Phillies go get Cedric Mullins? He would have been a lot better fit than Harrison Bader. They thought the Phillies, too, even though they made the big move with Duran, should have even got another reliever in there. I know they got David Robertson, but, he's a crapshoot. Who knows how he's going to pitch, missing a entire season. So people love what the Mets did. And you talk to GMs, they say they hardly gave up anything for what they got, too. So they gave a lot of credit to David Stearns, saying he got the most for giving up the little.
Jeez, Bob, you keep saying this. There was, no one gave up anything except the Padres. The only person that gave up, and they got, 7 big league players back. So, apparently you didn't have to give up much to get a lot back, Bob. But I want to know, you keep saying some of these GMs are difficult to deal with. Is that because they're too afraid to lose a deal and they're too afraid that their 29th best prospect is sometime, 5 years from now going to turn into a good player?
I think that's it. Look at A.J. Preller. He gave up, those guys to get Juan Soto. The trade was a disaster. He wasn't a good fit in the clubhouse. They didn't do anything with him. But at least they were able to flip him back. But, A.J. Preller has no regret for making that move. You go for it. Even if you go back to the old days when Detroit Tigers, when they traded John Smoltz to Atlanta for Joe Alexander. Alexander did exactly what they wanted. Rainey Johnson did exactly what Houston wanted that year. So, yeah, too many teams are afraid of that. And I think sometimes, and these teams know their prospects better than anybody else. Even the great shortstop that the Padres traded to Seattle, traded away to the Athletics, they say he's not a shortstop. He's going to have to play third base or first base. So they know him better than anybody else, but they didn't really blink about trading him.
Yeah, I give them credit.
You know why? Because AJs are smart, Bob. Don't ever forget that. AJs are the smartest people in the game, okay?
We know you are.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, people.
He's a GM on TV, which is great. It works out really well. You get all the benefits, and you don't have to listen to someone above you, right? Not bad.
Sometimes I have to try to listen to you.
That's true. But anyway,
that's what a lot of GMs said. They say a lot of quantity in this trade, but there wasn't that many quality prospects, despite what people are saying. They thought maybe like 2 really good players got moved.
Right. The top 5 for most teams, the contenders, stays put. When I was looking, the next day here, you're looking at Baseball America and cracking open the prospect list. So, hey, good job by them. Bob, great work yesterday. It was fun to follow. Thanks for hopping on with us. And everyone check out his winners and losers article, among other things, in USA Today. Always puts out great notes on the weekend as well. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend.
Appreciate it. You too. Bob Nightengale, USA Today Insider. You know what else stands out to me? Some GMs are addicted to certain teams. So let's do these tweets back to back. Ben Cherington said the Pirates, quote, had access to players that were ranked higher than who the Yankees offered for David Bednar. They simply preferred this package. I think what he was referring to is how there are a prospect ranked higher on, say, Baseball America, but he just likes these guys. They can't develop a catcher, so they're like, boom, hopefully Rafael Flores is our catcher for the future. These were not highly rated guys in the Yankees system, not even close to their top 5. I mean, obviously, yeah, 7, 8, 9-ish, whatever, but not top 5 guys. And then in Cherington's tenure, he's acquired 10 of the Yankees' top 30 prospects, according to Baseball America, via trade. The 10 prospects are the following: Roansy Contreras, Rafael Flores, Miguel Yajur, Conan Smith, Jigba.
Oh, his brother
Edwin
plays football.
Perez. Yes, he does. He's a nice guy. Kiner Delgado, Brian Sanchez, Hoy Park, Michael Escado, Diego Castillo. How's this going?
Great.
Don't you think at this point, Kratz, you should maybe stop trading with the Yankees? They're fleecing you, Ben. They're fleecing you over and over and over again. They're like the freaking pirate whisperers. They call them, they get who they want, and then nothing happens on the other side. I hope that this catcher works out for the Pirates, but still, they should have never made this trade, Kratz. If they got a better offer from a team like the Tigers, I'm just going to try something else. It's like a relationship, and you keep going after the same girl, and it just keeps not working. Maybe you should date someone else. It's not working for you.
Ben Cherington calls Cashman, and Cashman's ringtone for Cherington is money, 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 money. He's like, oh, Ben, yes. No, we did replenish all of our catchers. Do you want one? Absolutely. We have a bunch of guys that throw 98 miles an hour, too, in high A. Would you like 2 of those? Thank you. We'll take your controllable closer. See you later.
I would love to hear the sales call, because it's sales at that point, right? You're on that call,
the
and you're
Yankees
like...
are great at this. Look at that whole list. There's not one guy on there that I've ever really, other than Smith and Jigba, and that's because his brother was on my fantasy team.
Right, that's a football name.
But there's
Again,
not one guy on
nice
that list
guy,
I've
but
even never heard of.
What are we doing? This is what all Pirates fans are doing. I spend probably too much time in the comments these days, but I'm trying to understand the social media scene and what everyone's saying, right? So Pirates fans last night, the replies to the 2 tweets that we showed you, a lot of them are like, I'm done. I can't root for this anymore. I need new GM, new owner, the whole deal. This has been a really difficult 6 years.
Nothing's not going anywhere.
Of course not. He's rich.
No way. Yeah, that's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said. All right, here we go. I always look forward to the press conferences after the trade deadline when a team fell short. Let's start with the Cubbies. Jed Hoyer, who just got extended by the Cubs and has done a nice job building a playoff contender this year, but didn't get a starter. Quote, from a starting pitching standpoint, it was a really tight market. Very few rental starters. Of the marquee controllable starters, none of them changed hands. We didn't acquire them, but no one else did either. We felt the asking price was something we couldn't do to the future. As for rentals, Hoyer wouldn't talk on Merrill Kelly specifically. This is coming from our buddy Jesse Rogers. But Hoyer said, quote, sometimes you line up with teams and sometimes you don't. Merrill Kelly was a rental starter. He's very good. He would pitch game 1, 2, or 3 of the playoffs for the Chicago Cubs. He's having a great year. You can't miss. You can't miss on that. The Rangers were like adding to a surplus. You can't miss there. If you can't get the controllable starter, Kratz, that's okay. But there was a rental available, and you have to leave with him. You have to figure out a way. There were prospects that the Diamondbacks would take in a deal for Merrill Kelly, and it didn't have to be Ballesteros. If that's someone they think still impacting the big league club and they think he's this next big thing at catcher hitting for the future for them, that's fine. Or whatever position he ends up doing, they think he's a great bat. There's 10 to 12 other guys. I guarantee you could have come up with the right deal to get Merrill Kelly. And if not, you got to get one of those controllable starters. You're trying to be a World Series contender this year. You don't have enough starting pitching for October.
I think they disagree with you. I think they disagree with you in 1 or 2 ways. They think they do, and it couldn't have been more in their face. Cade Horton's throwing for him tonight. Is Cade Horton throwing starting one of your 3 games in a playoff matchup? I don't think so. I don't think so, but they think so. Or it's exactly what I said yesterday. Maybe they don't think they're a World Series team. Maybe they don't think this is the real time to push in. I know.
If
We
not
got
now,
Kyle
then when?
Tucker. I agree with you. I
You go
agree with
get
you.
Kyle
I'm saying-
Tucker. You trade that. You make that trade for 1 year for a guy that could possibly walk at the end of the year, but you don't gotta try and finish it off.
Yeah, but
Sounds
what
like
did they
another
do
team that learned from Jed Hoyer?
when they did that trade? When they got basically Kyle Tucker for Cam Smith. I get it. Paredes is in there, but they did it. They did it so they could get rid of Bellinger's contract. Also, that's a win for them. That's a win for them. If all they care about is the money, to me, from the outside, I look at the Kyle Tucker trade and I say, this team's doing it. This team added the aircraft carrier. This team offense took an absolute jump start to where they are right now. And to me, starting pitching is what they needed, and they did not make the move. So, in my opinion, if the market was too high, they were just asking too much, and he said leveraging it for the future, or didn't want to do that to our future, there was plenty of starting pitchers that have more than just 1 year of control. That's your future. That's your future. So either Kyle Tucker, this is your 1 year, you made the Kyle Tucker move, then you have to get a rental. And they didn't. Fail, thumbs down, whatever emoji you want to use.
No doubt. They got Kittredge, they got Soroka, and I liked the Willie Castro pickup, but that is not enough. You're not screaming World Series team. Here was the message. If Ian Happ
doesn't get hurt, do they get Willie Castro?
Maybe not. Why do you ask?
I would say no.
Just because. Then it's even less of to me, it's just an answer to Ian Happ getting hurt. Because they don't think Ballesteros can play that. He can't play left field every day for them. I think they think
no,
Willie
he's
Castro
not an outfielder.
Well, he was a catcher.
Right.
He's a catcher DH.
He's a catcher DH.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Owen Casey can.
Here's the thing, though.
They held him.
Remember last year when they went out and got Candelario? Was it 2 years ago when they went out and got?
Last year they got Paredes.
3 years.
2 years. When did 2 years ago? Like everyone's like, oh, the Cubs are in. The Cubs are in. They went out and got Candelario. People are like, why didn't they sell? Remember we were like talking about on here.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Cubs should have sold. The Cubs should have sold instead.
That was 23.
They went out and made trades to get people. Sorry, my pack dropped. But
well, last year they got Paredes when they were not in a great spot.
Yeah.
People thought they were going to sell hard. And Paredes ended up being helpful to turn into Kyle Tucker.
Kyle Tucker.
Great job. Great job on most of those fronts, but not here. You needed a starter, and I think you needed a reliever too. Here was the message to fans. Considering other teams were more aggressive using trades for second closers, an example like San Diego, Mets, Phillies, etc., right? Jesse Rogers got the quote from Jed who said, quote, our biggest focus wasn't trading that prospect capital in the bullpen. If we were going to do that, it was in the rotation. That's what I would say. Well, you messed up.
Instead, they didn't trade any of that prospect capital and got no starters.
You got nothing.
I listened to other quotes from him too. He was on ESPN yesterday, and he said that they don't want to do the drastic up down. Because if you think about it, they
so you'd rather so then
won
that
a World
goes back
Series.
to my question I asked Bob. So if you just make the playoffs like the Brewers do, and you never really get anywhere, is that good enough? The Twins, we made the playoffs. We won a wild card series. We're great. All right, we're good. Is that good enough? Because I don't think it is. If you're the Cubs.
To me, you know what this screams? 54%. The team that was believing in 54% actually just got past that, right?
They try.
This is the first time the Mariners are like, okay, the 54% thing is lame. And not every team is going to be in it every year. It's just not possible. So that was a 54% trade deadline. Let's give ourselves a shot. Let's get to the playoffs. Chances are not high that we'll have enough pitching to win in a national league that looks ridiculous.
But hey, we made the playoffs.
Yeah. And we'll be able to kind of keep this going for a while. Anyway, if you have other thoughts, tell us what we're missing. If you're catching this later on or live, drop some comments for us. But coming up next, we're talking to Nick Kurtz, who's having a ridiculous rookie season. Bruce Levine also commenting on what the Cubs and White Sox might have done together since Jed Hoyer and Chris Getz are buddies. Mm-hmm. They almost had a trade for Adrian Hauser. And the quote, I believe it's from Getz. We worked really hard, but didn't quite get there. Oh, Hoyer said that. Getz confirmed they had conversations up to 30 minutes before the deadline. Getz said he thought they were close for the prospects that they asked for.
Were they at dinner together?
I don't know.
Were they sitting at dinner together? Because they live like next door to each other.
That's what I'm saying. They carpool sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't think they were. Oh, I mean, they might have been at dinner after, but they're in their situation room.
How do we know that?
I don't think you sit at dinner and do the trade deadline. I don't think. Adrian Hauser.
Some people say in the chat that they did.
They had dinner during the deadline or after the deadline?
Both out to dinner during the trade deadline.
During the deadline.
Yeah. Scott doesn't get it.
We need confirmed. We need TMZ pictures.
I don't get it. What's the joke?
Well, they're all saying they were sleeping. Certain people were sleeping during the deadline. They didn't make
out to lunch. I like out to lunch.
And they forgot.
Yeah.
That's what people say. I agree with you.
I got you. Good joke. Good joke.
I'm sure they've had plenty of discussion. You think when they're in the car together, they're like, "Hey, what about this? Will you take Luis Robert for $20 million and you give me Owen Casey?"
I think that it goes even past that, where he says, "What should I do with Luis Robert?" And he says, "You should keep him unless you get a top prospect." And he goes, "But no one's offering me that." And he's like, "Yeah, because everyone's soft and no one trades big prospects anymore. So you should just keep him and spend more money, and then we'll just continue to be the better team in Chicago." Gotcha, sucker.
Oldest
That's
trick in
probably
the
what's
book.
going down. That's right. Hauser, by the way, went to the Rays. Interesting trade deadline for them. They got rid of Littell. They picked up Hauser.
Got rid of Bradley.
Got rid of Taj Bradley.
Picked up
Griffin Jacks, who they have for 2.5 seasons. I think Griffin Jacks is really good.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a good one for the Rays
too.
bullpen. Stu Sternberg owns the Rays for a few more months, and I don't think he wanted to sell the team and have them all fall apart. They already have a deal, it sounds like, so it's not going to affect anything. This is very different from the Twins clearing their books, so I'm like, okay. I mean, sure, you'd like to see them buy if they were buying, but they don't know if they're really in a good position. Their playoff percentage chance is pretty low, right?
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
But they're like, hey, let's give it a shot.
They try to thread the needle.
Yeah.
They always do this.
I've seen better, I've seen worse.
You say that about all the Rays? Don't we say that about the Rays all the time?
Yes. Hey, we're excited to have A's rookie Nick Kurtz joining the show right now. Nick, great to have you on here. Congrats on a great year so far. Still work to do. First off, wanted to say hello. And do you feel like a rookie? Because you don't look like a rookie, dude. But do you feel like a rookie in the bigs?
Yeah, I still think there's a little bit more time for me to feel this way. But not for too much longer, I hope.
Okay, good. Well, I want to start here just because it's fresh. How was the trade deadline? You're someone that comes in as a rookie. Obviously, you don't have to be worried about being traded. But how was it just to be amongst players over the last few days? Are people checking their phones just to see what's going on? Because every team makes a trade at the deadline. So somebody in the clubhouse is going to be hugging their teammates goodbye.
Yeah, it was weird. This is the first time I've kind of experienced the trade deadline at all, and then let alone in the big leagues. So seeing that kind of go down, seeing the moves made, and then seeing Mason and JP and Miggy go, it hurts to see. But at the end of the day, we know it's a business, so we all understand it. But those are great guys, and we wish them the best.
Nick, how does it feel? I have two questions for you. First one, how does it feel to be the second most Amish guy on a show? Okay, you're from Lancaster, right? You have the nickname Big Amish, but the guy with his hat on backwards, the other guy with his hat on backwards, is actually Amish. So how does it feel, even though your nickname is Big Amish, Kratz is actually the one that has done the churning of the butter and building the barn with his bare hands and all that stuff.
And
so this might be the first time in your life you're the second most Amish person on anything you've ever done.
Yeah, that's definitely a new one. I haven't really met anyone else since I've left Lancaster who kind of knows about it or has been around it for a little bit. So it's cool at the same time.
Nice.
We always try to get the facts right. Where did you grow up in Lancaster?
So it was right in Lancaster County. I was like 5 minutes from Lidditz, and then in Lancaster County went to Manheim Township, school district area. Yeah.
So you went to Manheim. First of all, I'm not Amish. Second of all, AJ looks more Amish than both of us. Thirdly, we know AJ's churning tons of butter, and Mannheim is not Amish. So there's that. That's not how you churn butter. That's not how you churn butter.
I don't know. All right, now that we got the facts straight, now I have to ask him the real question. How does it feel as a rookie to have the greatest game you're going to have of your career? 6 for 6, almost 5 homers, missed it by a foot. Like, this is one of the greatest. I said it was the greatest game I've ever seen by a hitter. So you, in your rookie year, had, I mean, if you can top this game, I will salute you for the rest of my life. But you 6 for 6, 4 homers, like 6 runs, RBIs, everything. The greatest game of all time was in your rookie year. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It's still, when people say that, it doesn't really still feel real. I kind of actually did it. It was a weird feeling throughout the whole game that, just kind of kept happening, kept getting hits. I feel like a lot of luck has to go into a game like that. And, it all kind of just came together. But thank you. Yeah.
Luck? What luck? There ain't no luck. Dude, you got 6 hits and 4 homers. And this ball right here, you missed the other one. You missed by like a foot where you're like, dude, if you would have got 5 homers, think about it, you'd be going to Cooperstown, right? Your hat, your helmet, your bat, your spikes.
I think it already did some of his stuff.
I'm sure it probably did, but like, dude, that's not luck. That's like the greatest game I've ever seen. If I could have got 6 hits in a game, I can't say that. For Kratz, that's a month's worth of hits. I mean, that's unbelievable. 6 hits in a game. I'd barely got 6 at bats in the game.
Yeah. I guess maybe a little bit less luck, but they still got to throw it where you're looking. You still got to make good swings on it. But when things are going good, they're going good. So that's kind of the way baseball works, in my opinion. Just the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows. And it all just happened in one game.
Yeah, I don't get 6 hits in BP. But the real questions now. Okay, we got to ask the really tough questions. What's tougher, the big leagues or the ACC?
The big leagues, for sure. Yeah.
You sure? Are you sure? Because, I mean, we're kind of seeing, like we kind of asked this question with Paul Skeens, like the SEC, his ERA was worse in the SEC than it is in the big leagues. You were just in college. You didn't play in the minor leagues. And you came on and you were talking about, you're like, yeah, it's luck. Some of this is all this stuff. Was the ACC, was the schedule you played in college and the development you had in college able to put you in this situation, or are you just the freak from Lancaster?
Yeah, I think the coaching staff and kind of the adjustments I've made in college kind of helped me get to, the high draft pick and stuff like that.
Uh-oh.
Phone call. We haven't had one in a while.
Rookie mistake.
But what's he supposed to do? Turn the phone off?
No, you put on Do Not Disturb.
Do not
does that
disturb.
do it?
Come on, Scott. Have you never done a interview before? Oh, we lost him.
That's okay.
That's what happens when you go 6 for 6 in one game.
I was going to say, maybe he just went and got another hit.
True. Amazing.
Well, anyways, I had a lot to ask him. I had a lot more questions for him. What's it like playing in one of the most hitter-friendly parks in the world? What's it like playing for Tom Walter?
I have one that I was going to ask him off the list. Oh, Jacob.
Jacob mad at you for
you can ask him now.
Year, possibly.
You can ask him now.
Oh, wait, he can hear me.
Go ahead.
All right, I'm back, sorry. What were you saying?
Did you drop your phone? Did it fall in the toilet? What happened there?
No, phone call. But
Phone call.
I
That's
heard
what
you
it
guys
is.
put it on
Big
Do Not
deal.
Disturb right away, right after.
All right.
It's a big
So we
deal.
have a lot of questions for you.
All right,
One,
go ahead.
what was it like playing for Tom Walter? I know him. He's a great guy. So he's awesome. He's developed a great program. So what is it like playing for Tom Walter at Wake Forest?
Yeah, he's awesome. Like you said, great guy. He's done so much stuff in the past. He donated. When I first committed there, right after he donated the kidney to the player, and after seeing that's kind of the kind of person he is, he cares about you more of a human being than just a baseball player. So that was really what brought me to Wake, and then playing for him for 3 years was, he kind of showed that every single day. So it was awesome.
So your last season in college ball, I think, did you have an injury early in the season?
Yeah, I struggled early and then got hurt for like 2 weeks, was out. and then came back.
Okay, and then you raked. I mean, you were like, I think, yeah, I'm looking at some of the numbers. Insane. So point is, when you got drafted 4th overall, are you one of those guys that's like, great, I'm going to the A's, I'm happy? Or did you look back like to the first 3 teams? Are you sure? Are you sure? You know, like there's even some guys, I think Bregman, right, wears number 2 because he wasn't number 1 overall. Did you have that mentality at all in your brain? Like, hey, I felt like I was the best hitter in college baseball and 3 other teams didn't feel that way, apparently.
Not really. You know, I did feel like I was the best bat to come out of that class, but I didn't really show it my junior year. Struggled really early on, and kind of like at that point, I kind of told myself, this is, you know, the A's are where I'm supposed to go. Everything's meant for a reason. Maybe I wouldn't be up in the big leagues if I went to 1, 2, or 3 or whatever happened. So I kind of just put it on perspective. This is what it was meant to be.
Dude, you had a 1,200 OPS your junior year, almost 1,300.
Not good enough.
With 22 homers. I mean, it wasn't that big of a struggle bus you were on. I mean, geez, I mean, you only hit 306, sorry, but your slug was 763. Like, what kind of struggle bus were you on? Like, you have unreal expectations if that's what you're looking for.
And he led NCAA in walks too.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking Barry Bonds type of stuff.
When I got back from the injury, then I was really good and showed it. But before that, that's kind of when I went on a real heater. And after I got back, and I hit like 14 homers in 10 games and something like that. So 14 of the 22 homers were in 10 games. That's kind of what I mean, but a little bit of a struggle.
That's a heater for real.
That is a real heater.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there right now, and you're essentially taking Jacob's Rookie of the Year award away from him. Have you mentioned it when you get on the front of the bus when the 2 of you have to sing a duo?
No, we have not. We haven't talked about it much. A lot of people ask. You know, he's going through some stuff. He's got a little injury right now, so he's on the IL. But I know when he gets back, he'll make another run for it, kind of like I did. So it'll be fun battling out for it the rest of the year. I mean, whoever gets it. It's great reward. And it'll most likely be an A, which is really cool.
What have you seen in the big leagues in the sense that everyone says, well, anybody can get hot in the big leagues? And I'm not going to say you're hot. I'm just saying you're just good and you can really hit. What have you seen them making adjustments that you've now had to make adjustments? Because I know Jacob went through a little bit of a slump here because of trying to play through the fractured forearm. But what adjustments have you seen the league make against you that you've been like, I'll counter that and make this adjustment?
Yeah, there's been a few. When I first got up, it was, you know, a lot of soft, a lot of splitter change up away. Then I kind of make an adjustment towards that. Then they threw a little bit more heaters. And then I had to make adjustment to that. And then they kind of went all the way. And then I kind of make adjustment at that. And then kind of they're coming in now and trying to go up and get me to chase in. So it's kind of I think it's a game throughout the entire time. You got to figure out what they're trying to do to you that weekend or that series. And then you got to come up with a game plan to, you know, not steer away from what you do best, but kind of combat what they do.
How does that process work for you in the big leagues? Because obviously you're new to everything. You're a rookie this season. You know, are you getting information from the coaching staff? Is it from the front office? Like, what's your process? Who comes up to you and says, hey, I mean, obviously you see it in the game too, but hey, this is how everyone's attacking you right now. This is what you should do. Or is it most of what you're just observing yourself in your ABs?
A little bit both. Our hitting coach, Darren Bush, you know, we kind of come up with a plan before the game, and then we kind of use the first at bat, and they kind of use that as a baseline of what we think they're going to do. How did it go? What did they get me with? And then just what's been working against me recently, kind of bringing all that together, kind of comes with a good game plan of what they're going to try to do. And then we just use our pregame stuff and pre-work to kind of combat that, you know, what they're going to do.
All right, well, we can see that baseball's easy for you. So what do you do off the field? What's your thing? Are you a gamer? Are you a hunter? Some of the guys wanted to ask if you were a butter churner or not, but
a butter churner.
I don't want to hit that. So,
are you a cow milker? Don't you milk cows, Kratz? I don't know.
Hey, AJ milks chickens, so there's that.
I have nipples, Craig. Can you milk me?
Big gamer. That's what I spend most of my time doing off the field. In the off season, I'll venture out to a little bit more stuff. But while I'm outside on the field on my legs a lot during the season. It's a lot of gaming going on.
All right, what are you into? What
game?
What's on the sticks?
So mostly Call of Duty. That's kind of the game I play. I've been playing a new game recently. It's called Ready or Not, which has been fun. It's like you and your friends like are on a SWAT team, and you got to go like do missions and stuff like that, which has been fun. But mostly those two.
All right, so you playing Call of Duty and Ready or Not? Like I played Call of Duty back when it was like SOCOM, Navy SEALs, Call of Duty, like way back, like 20 plus years ago. What number are they on now? Because this was like the first one was, and it was the coolest thing ever because you played as a team, you had your headset on. There's a 12-year-old, and you're like, I'm Nick Kurtz. I had 6 hits in the game, so you can't kill me, you little kid, right? And you're talking trash to him. So like, what number are they on now?
So Black Ops 7 is coming out in a couple months. So that's a lot. It's not like the older games for sure. It's gotten way different.
Like what? All right, so explain to us old folk.
So now I think like the biggest part of the game is like the battle royale, which is like it's called Warzone. So it's they kind of use like the Fortnite what they did and then made a Call of Duty version out of it. And it came out around 2020 COVID, so that's when it got really big as well.
You get noticed when you go out in Sacramento? Do you get noticed? Are they like, dang, does that guy play on the Kings?
Not really. Honestly, not really. In Tahoe, over All-Star break, I got noticed by a few people. But no, we just got back. We were on the road all after All-Star break, and that's when it kind of took off. So maybe a little bit more here in the future, but not so much now. Which I like it that way for sure.
Yeah, low profile. You can do your thing, live your life.
Yeah.
But on the celeb side, AJ and sometimes Kratz really love name dropping. Kratz actually said he was texting with the GM this morning. AJ has some famous friends. So what do you have for us after the huge performance, the 4-homer, 6-hit game? Who was the most famous person that reached out to you?
I think the most famous was Barstool Big Cat reached out. And then I've talked to Paul Goldschmidt a few years in the past regarding agencies and heard from him as well.
All right, Nick, I have to tell you a story. So Big Cat, he's in Chicago. He's based in Chicago, okay? We did the NASCAR race in Chicago last year. Big Cat was next to me. White Sox Dave is a Barstool guy, right? So White Sox Dave's taking me around, introducing me to all these people, and everybody wanted a picture with Big Cat. I literally looked at White Sox Dave and I said, who the hell is this guy? And they're like, you don't know Big Cat? And I'm like, oh, I've heard of him. And they're like, Erik, come meet him. He was great, but I had no idea. I who I know Portnoy, obviously.
Yeah.
And I knew White Sox Dave and Megan and all the people they have. But Big Cat, I had no idea who he was.
I could not identify him.
I could have never. So that's cool that he reached out to you. Did he want you on his podcast or anything?
Yeah, we might do something in the future, but it was more just, exchanging phone numbers, saying what's up.
How did you get your number?
Something with my agency. They have a contact with him, and they kind of connected us.
Got it.
Really sure how that went down. Just kind of happened. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
All right. I'm always looking for unique things to do with the home run derby. Do you think they should have a rookie, whatever rookie is leading the league in home runs, or would you do it next year if they asked you?
I probably would, just because it's in Philly, and that's kind of closest to home, so that'd be pretty cool. After watching Rook do it and talking to Rook about it, he said it was so much fun. So I'd enjoy doing that, I think. Yeah.
Nice. Cool. All right. Last one before we go. I asked your manager. I played with your manager. Okay. So I've known your manager for a really long time, Mark Kotze. And I asked him in spring training why he takes his hat. I'm not going to do it to my hat. I'm going to try and find another hat that I can ruin. So I'm going to take this one off. And why does he have his hat? Why does he take his hat and he bend it like this? If you ever asked Mark Kotze why he bends his hat so much? Because I asked him in spring training, and he said, I didn't realize I'd do it. But instead of the flat brimmer like all you young kids like, he's got the old school. Remember the Japan team that would always come to the Little League World Series, and every hat would be like this? That's Mark Kotze.
And everybody from Boston.
I honestly never really mentioned it until you said that, and it's like all I can see now.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll have to ask him today why he does that, because it's very true. Yeah.
Yeah. Remember, I asked him in spring training. He didn't really have an answer.
It's just a thing. It's almost
It's just
like
his thing.
like a fidget spinner. It's like something you do. You just keep doing this, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Nick, this was awesome, man. Hope you had fun. Great to have you on. Keep crushing it. Really fun watching you play this year.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Nick Kurtz from the
Thanks,
A's
Nick.
joining us on FT. Be right back. There's some breaking news regarding the Yankees. Hey. Yeah, we'll get to the breaking Yankees news coming up in just a moment. We're also going to talk to Chandler Rome about the craziness that he had yesterday, including, I think, a 7+ hour flight delay. That he was the happiest guy ever to have a flight delay because the Carlos Correa news goes down. Yeah. And he's like, please, I don't want to fly yet. I have so much work to do. The people need me. So we'll get to Chandler. We're going to look at Jim Bowden's grades for the trade deadline and then decide where we differ. I'm a nerd and I did grades for all of mine.
Of course you did. I did not.
After
5.5 hours of TV yesterday, I did not. I crashed.
Yeah. See, this is the kid in me that would say, like, I always remember I'm watching the expansion draft with Rays and Diamondbacks, and I wrote down like pick, where he came from, like which team he was coming from, position, whatever. And I think I still have it somewhere. It's like, why are you doing that? So it was one of those where you just sit down. It's like, I'm not putting an article out, but I had to grade it.
You should put an article out, Scott.
Where?
I don't know. Just put one out. Just so you say you did.
FT newsletter.
Okay.
Yeah, what happened to that?
Oh, yeah, FT newsletter. We could put it in the FT newsletter. That's not a bad idea.
Scott's grades. And then AJ's grades from college.
That'd be a long newsletter.
A lot of eyes. A lot of incomplete.
A lot of did not attend.
Yeah. All right, so what we're going to do next is there is a roster move that the Yankees made. I can tell you what it is, but we're going to break it again. Stroman got cut. But also on that front, Johan Rojas got options, Kratz. So there's the expected move. They don't really, now it's depth, but they replaced him. So now Bader and Marsh can play center field, right?
Marsh played really well in center field before they called Rojas up 2 years ago.
But so then what was the problem?
For what?
Why did they take him out of center field 2 years ago? Because Rojas is even a little better defender, but can't hit for shit?
Rojas' first year, he was almost leading the league in outs above average, and he wasn't even playing every day. And that upgraded them in left, which enabled them to push Schwarber to DH full time. I think Schwarber's got 7 games in left this year. That's not what they don't want that.
No. All right, so coming up next, we'll hit that, and then we'll get to some grades. Breaking news, the Yankees say they do not need Marcus Stroman anymore. So he has been released. This according to Bob Nightengale, who was just on our show minutes ago. He's still hustling. So he said Stroman should be joining a starting rotation near you. Hey, maybe some of those teams that didn't do anything can drop a phone call.
I don't think the Cubs are going to take him back. Maybe.
Cubs, Red Sox, phone call?
He's done it. He would love to go to the Red Sox. He would love to play the villain to the Yankees or the superhero for the Red Sox. If he has his choice, he would love that.
Yeah,
Blue Jays, back to the Blue Jays.
Well, no, they already have 6 starters. Here's the problem. He has a 6+ ERA. If you go on his StatCast page, everything besides ground balls is incredibly blue. This could be end, or this could be a tryout on a team that just needs to pick up some innings. I don't know. Do you think he gets picked up?
He's a team he's just going to have to find a team where he can pitch.
Yeah.
And start, right? Whatever team that is that needs him just to eat innings, whether, to cover, and then hope he does really well, and then he can find another job next year.
Does he want to go to a team that is not in the race?
Well, he has to make a decision. Do I want to go to a team that's good and probably not get to pitch a ton? Or do I want to go to a team that's out of the race and probably get a chance to pitch every fifth day?
Right.
That's a tough decision we all have to make.
What would you do if you were him?
Has he won before?
I don't think he's won a World Series,
Not a
but I'll
World
double
Series,
check.
no.
Then your answer is he's made a lot of money. So I'd probably have to go where I have a chance to win. But that's tough because he was on the Yankees who have a chance to win, and they let him go. So other teams are going to say, well, why did the Yankees let him go?
Yeah.
And he wasn't happy in the bullpen. Let's not forget, there's also the whole thing he was not happy in the bullpen. Remember? They put him in the bullpen. He wasn't happy. Then he said, I don't want to be in the bullpen. I'm a starter. So I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to mention how he made it pretty clear, telling us, 12 times in spring training in that interview, I'm a starter. He's made 9 starts this year. He's had some injuries. That's it. He's made the 9 appearances.
He also didn't pitch once in the playoffs last year. I'm not saying that was all him. I'm saying maybe partially him. Like, if you're going to throw me, like, you got to make sure I got time to warm up. So if a contending team says, yeah, I want this guy, they have to understand he wasn't used in the playoffs last year. I'm not saying he wasn't good enough. I'm saying he wasn't used. For whatever reason, if you have him a starter right now, he's going to fill innings for you, and you make the playoffs, how's he going to feel going to the pen? Well, he made that clear in spring training and postseason. It wasn't looking like where he wanted to be. Let's put it that way.
William in the chat said he doesn't have bullpen stuff. He said maybe long reliever.
Yeah, that's what he would be. We know that he's not going to pick. He's not going to the 8th inning, and they're not firing him out there in the 8th inning.
Yeah, I think he meant high leverage stuff.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah,
eat innings. Yeah. Okay, this is interesting. I wonder, do you think someone picks him up? Because if he really wants to be a starter and it's only a contender, you think so?
Astros?
No,
I don't see it.
I don't.
So he doesn't get picked up?
No, he does. He does with it. You said a contender. Does he get picked up by a contender? No, I don't think he gets picked up by a contender. I think some of these teams that need innings.
I got one for you. I think he goes home.
What?
To the house.
No, I think he goes home.
Oh. I was like, what?
Check cash is the same this year.
And then
Didn't
he tries to
take
make a
the
comeback
COVID
next
season
year?
off too? Yeah, I think he just says, hey, this is not going to be the right setup for me unless a contender wants me and promises me that I'm going to be a starter the rest of the way. Check cash is the same. Go home. And then you can sign a contract with the team to show up at spring training and vie for a rotation spot.
Yeah.
Just knowing how he operates, I don't think that's a crazy thought.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
He's got a boat. He'll be down in Tampa. I don't hate that. And he makes his contract tax-free down in Florida. Just saying.
He does the bullpen session on the dock. You ever seen those videos?
Oh, I've seen all of it.
Oh, yeah. So
Hey, he's got his own shoe line he does too, right?
And hey,
Sugar.
if he wants to still pitch in the bigs and make some money
But here's the thing.
be a starter.
Unless he goes to a team this year and pitches and does well, he's going to be an NRI next year. He's going to be a non-roster invite.
minor
More than
league
likely,
contract.
right, Kratz? I mean, I would think with a chance to make a couple million, I don't know. That's the way this kind of goes. You get released. The next year you go to a camp as a NRI guy or, most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time.
Yeah. I was trying to think of examples of guys who had subpar years and then still came out and got that contract. Just coming off an injury and then he didn't get many starts after the injury. It's tough. Some people be like, "Oh, screw that! Like I didn't get a fair shake after the injury." I get it. That's why you don't rush back from injuries. For everybody who's watching, don't rush back from injuries because you don't do good right out the gate, especially on a team that wants to win. You're gonna find a spot for someone else.
I think public perception, because he's vocal and outspoken, could lead to some teams saying no. Also, because he hasn't pitched well. I mean, he's a negative WAR in his 9 starts, 6+ ERA. Some teams are just going to be like, nah.
Yeah, but a team like the Braves, Orioles.
Do you think the Braves would take him?
I don't know.
I think the Orioles might. I don't know. I don't think the Braves.
I don't know.
will
I'm
take
just
him.
throwing teams out there that we've talked about needing starters. Those are a couple of teams that kind of need starters.
Orioles for sure.
Braves lost their whole rotation.
Yeah, I just for some reason I don't think Anthopoulos had him, right? He had him in Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think that gets reunited. But I could be wrong. Maybe they got along really well and there's a phone call there. And also, let's not act like this business doesn't have a little bit of networking to it, right? There's some guys you like, there's some guys you don't like. Like Alex might really like Marcus from their times there. And it might be a phone call like, hey, dude, give me a shot. Let me get a start or two there and see if I can get this rolling again.
Braves
really
have nothing else.
Right.
They have nothing else.
Innings.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The Braves are a real option.
Cookie Carrasco pitched the other day.
That's kind of my point.
Yeah. Okay.
Cookie Carrasco pitched last night. Did okay until the 8th inning came, and then nobody pitched very well for either team.
And that was the relievers. I mean,
no, I know.
Yeah. That was a different
Both teams
setup.
scored 8 runs in the 8th last night. What?
That was something.
Wow.
So anyway, the news is Marcus Stroman cut by the Yanks. They are going to go forward with who? Warren,
Heel,
Schlitter, Luis Heal's coming back this weekend. And then, of course, you got Fried and Rodon at the top. Makes sense. All of those arms, I think, rate better now than current version of Stroman. So there you go. That's your breaking news. Coming up next, we're going to talk to Chandler Rome about the Carlos Correa edition for the Astros. The shocker. Hey, I want to bring that game up. Brian Hayes, first game with the Reds. Pulls a homer. He's had 2 homers the whole year. He's like a 290 slugging percentage. Pirates fans already were feeling miserable after their trade deadline. And then there's barely any baseball on. And Brian Hayes bangs a homer, part of a 8-run comeback for the Reds, who ultimately lost. But still, Kratz texted us in our group chat like, oh, hey, there's the power.
He's a career 7, I wrote it down, 742 OPS versus the Reds. I don't know if that means the trade is good or not, but maybe he likes playing in Cincinnati. Just saying.
That's crazy. First game.
I mean, you had that was that had to be the lock. That had to be the lock, that he was going to hit his 3rd homer of the year.
He's got his Pirates shoes on, his Pirates belt on, all his Pirates stuff on, and whammo.
There was either the Pirates fans that are like, I hate life, or the other side, because again, I couldn't sleep last night, and I'm going through comments. There are the Pirates fans that are like, are you going to point out the 2-run error that he had? And I'm like, shut up. Dude, he's really good at third. That is not the concern for Cincinnati. No. The concern is, will this guy hit enough to be worth $7 million a year for the next X amount of years? And they're banking on it.
Well, we'll see. It's gonna be interesting. This is a fascinating trade to me because we talked about it when it happened. Why did Cincinnati take on that money unless they think they can unlock something? And maybe they have a different hitting coach. Maybe they talk to him a little bit differently. And he's been in Pittsburgh his whole career. Sometimes you grow stale, like the same message over and over again. He signed a big contract there. Didn't get any better, so maybe this is the opportunity to move on and find something that he couldn't find in Pittsburgh.
I hope so. I hope it works out for him.
He's probably tired of being in last place every year, too.
It's tough. That's got to be tough. Every year, no chance. Hey, also, the Mariners are 1-0 in the Eugenio Suarez era. Had a nice knock, and Cal Raleigh hit his 42nd homer.
Shocker.
Yeah. It's going to be fun to watch the Mariners down the stretch here. Mariners fans are pumped because they were pissed when they didn't push chips in the past couple of years for the bats. And then they just got 2. And the one they got last year, Randy Arozarena, is hitting pretty well too. So let's talk about the AL West leaders coming up next. That's the Astros. 4.5 games up? Yeah. Chandler Rome coming up. Chandler Rome was hustling yesterday just typing away. The Houston Astros were making moves, making headlines, and he covers them for The Athletic, along with Crush City Territory, which you should check out. Subscribe to it on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. I want to start this way, Chandler. The headliner, Astros trade deadline takeaways. You wrote, Jim Crane cements his title as baseball's most aggressive owner. Can you elaborate on that one?
First off, I want to give a shout out to Tyler Stafford and Josh Reddick, who ran Crush City Territory today solo. Excellent job by both of them. Please go rate, review. Please like and watch that. They did a great job. Yeah, it's difficult to call Jim Crane anything else other than the most aggressive. Notice I said most aggressive owner at the trade deadline. Look, AJ Preller, Jerry DiPoto, they obviously get their flowers as guys that wheel and deal a bunch, but no owner is quite like Jim Crane, a guy that when he has somebody that he wants, when he has identified players as, I want this guy, 9 times out of 10, the Astros get them. You look at Justin Verlander in 2017, again in 2023. We had Jeff Luhnow on Crush City Territory a couple of weeks ago, and he basically said that Jim Crane was a huge factor in getting Zach Greinke in 2019. Remember, too, that the Astros had a deal agreed upon to acquire Bryce Harper from the Nationals in 2018 that was nixed by Nationals ownership. And then also bear in mind that at the 2023 deadline, Jim Crane came out and said, we tried to acquire 2 players from the Padres. It was Blake Snell and Josh Hader. They couldn't get on the same page, ended up pivoting to Verlander. Who did Jim Crane and Dana Brown sign the next winter? Josh Hader. So, look, if Jim Crane sees that the Astros, his team has a legitimate shot at a championship, he breaks all precedent. He kind of loosens his restrictions, if you will, on money and the luxury tax, things of that nature, and he goes for it. And you have to commend him for that as an owner that is this aggressive, as an owner that prioritizes winning this much, and an owner that sometimes just says, you know what? Screw it. We're going for it. We're going all in. We're pushing our chips all in. That's what this team did. That's what he did at the deadline. The Astros needed a jolt. They needed some energy in their clubhouse. They lost 12 of 19 going into the deadline. Their lineup has just been ravaged by injury. And, there were other hitters out there that maybe made more fiscal sense. There were hitters out there that maybe fit the lineup a little bit better, but no one has the cachet, no one has the star power, and no one can bring a jolt to the city of Houston and the Astros clubhouse like Carlos Correa.
Well, that's my next question. Jim Crane just loves stars, doesn't he? He loves stars. Yep. Carlos Correa is a star. And we had Bob Nightengale earlier who said this was this was a Pohlad and Jim Crane trade. GMs were be damned. This was a Pohlad and Jim Crane trade that was done between the two involving all the money. So how much of that is true, and why does Jim Crane love stars so much? I mean, it's amazing. He loves collecting them.
I mean, you'd have to ask Jim why he loves stars so much, but I think a little bit of it is, stars are more, there's a little more assurance there. There's a little more guarantee that these stars are going to come in and perform well. You don't know how getting a guy from maybe an uneasy situation, or a guy that's never been in the spotlight, a guy that's never been in kind of the pressure cooker that is when you come into an Astros clubhouse that expects to contend for the World Series every year. There's a lot of pressure there. And, there's people that are meant to handle that. There's people that, as Dana Brown likes to say, have the stomach for it. Carlos Correa is certainly one of those guys. Justin Verlander, as we know, is one of those guys. Bryce Harper would have been and still is in 2018. Zach Greinke got them to within, I believe, 8 outs of a World Series in 2019. So that's part of it. Look, Jim Crane had a huge hand in this. Dan Hayes and I at The Athletic, when this started to simmer on Wednesday, we wrote a story that basically said, look, there were sources from both the Twins side and the Astros side that were really downplaying this as a possibility. It could happen, but it's very, very unlikely to happen. But every Astros person that I kept talking to, there was just kind of this inherent understanding with them. They would say everything and they'd be like, but, Jim's involved, and Jim is usually, when Jim Crane has his eyes on something, 9 times out of 10, he gets it. And I trust Bob implicitly. I do believe that it was a lot of, Jim Crane to the Pohlads there in Minnesota. I think that is true and that is the case. Because with the amount of money you're talking about here, with the amount of money that the Twins are paying, with the amount of money that the Astros are taking on, that's an ownership level decision. That would have been the case in 29, 28 other teams too. Like ownership would have had to get involved. So, but make no mistake, this Jim Crane's influence in this deal was massive.
The word used was jolt that Carlos Correa is going to bring to this team. You look at his stats right now. Is there going to be a jolt? I get it. You can have clubhouse guys, but you know what clubhouse guys get paid? They get paid what I got paid. It's a half a year thing. It's under, you don't have 2 commas in your paychecks. Jim Crane's a very successful businessman, and successful businessmen do not waste their money. Is there a chance they see something that maybe could be unlocked, especially with moving to third base and maybe getting him off his feet? I'm assuming they know what his foot injury was. Is there something there, or is it just a complete roll of the dice for $70-some million?
Well, first of all, Kratz, you've shared a clubhouse with Correa. You know the influence and the impact just his presence has. Like sometimes he doesn't even need to speak. It's just his aura and his being there. It just kind of alters the way a clubhouse functions. He's a guy that can team with Jose Altuve and really be, the leaders of this clubhouse. When he left in 2021, he was the unquestioned leader of the Astros clubhouse, vocally, presence-wise. Sometimes he didn't even need to speak, but a lot of times he did use his words and was the leader. So that'll help. I do worry. Not worry. Worry is probably the wrong word. I do find it fascinating to look at his stats because, look, this isn't the same Carlos Correa that left here in 2021. I believe he was worth 10.4 WAR in his Minnesota Twins tenure. He had 2 separate seasons with the Astros worth 7 WAR. So this is a player that has, on paper, declined. I have not watched Carlos play a bunch since he left, so I can't tell you specifically it's this, and this. Some of it has been injury-related. He had the oblique issue earlier in his Twins career. He's had some foot issues. He had some plantar fasciitis issues. Part of it is he's got to stay on the field. Part of it, too, I have no doubts that he'll transition to third base and be absolutely excellent there. The one thing that has never fallen off is his defense. Like he's one of the better defensive shortstops I've ever seen. I think that'll be a seamless kind of transition, him going to third base. And who knows, maybe there's something there like there was with Jose Altuve when Jose Altuve moved to left field in spring training. I think I've told you guys before that this is the most engaged and the most happy and energetic I've ever seen Jose Altuve in the 8 years I've covered him. That position switch kind of energized him. Maybe that can be the case for Correa, even though it's only moving over a few feet on the left side of the infield. Maybe that can be the case. He has said that he wanted to play third base. He had talked to the Twins about doing that, but the roster construction just never lent itself to playing third base. So third base is not the worry for me. What I would worry about a little bit is the offensive numbers. The slug has not been there. Recently, you look at, he's been susceptible to sliders. The batting average is still around a 260, 270 hitter, but just has not provided the thump that they need. But if this lineup gets at full strength, then you have Jeremy Pena and Yordan Alvarez back and Jose Altuve, who's having a nice year, and then Jake Myers, who's hitting 300. If he can come back, you look at it, and he doesn't really have to be this 1,000 OPS guy that's going to carry the lineup. He'll be surrounded by some pretty good pieces there, but that's a big if the Astros get back to full strength.
All right, not to discourage or to say what you said was wrong, but a -2 outs above average. Maybe his fielding range is, third base increases that. I get what you're saying. The aura factory, it makes my kids cringe when I say that. But you're in Fenway right now. Mm-hmm. 2 teams are going to play against each other that did not do anything to take care of their starting pitching needs. Who's in a worse spot, the Astros or the Red Sox with their starting pitching? And where are the Astros at with their starting pitching because they didn't get ceased? They thought that was going to get pushed across the finish line.
Yeah, as far as the Astros go, they're going to have to hope and pray that Christian Javier and JP France and Spencer Arrighetti and Luis Garcia, they come back. And look, it seems now they are going to get all 4 of those guys back. They are going to activate them off the injured list at some point, and they're going to be on a major league mound. The question is their efficiency. Christian Javier hasn't pitched in a major league game in 13 months. Luis Garcia hasn't pitched a major league game in 27 months. Spencer Arrighetti is probably the more sure thing out of these four guys because he did pitch some this season, and he's not coming back from reconstructive elbow surgery or a long thing. He just broke his thumb on his right hand. Not that that's a nothing injury, but certainly not to the level that Javier, France, and Garcia have been through. So they've looked okay. Most of them have looked okay in their minor league rehab starts. But, it's a different animal at the big league level. And they're going to have to roll the dice here that these guys are ready to get out at the big league level. Dana Brown was asked yesterday why they didn't acquire pitching. And it was the answer was pretty simple. The prices were just too high. In lieu of trading away some of either the 0 to 3 controllable talent they have or some of their precious few top prospects, Jim Crane decided to take on Carlos Correa's money, and that allowed them to keep a lot of their controllable talent and their prospects in the system. They were very hard after Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease was their primary target throughout this deadline until the Carlos Correa stuff really started to pop up. So the fact that they went so hard after Dylan Cease does kind of reaffirm that there is at least some worry about what these injured guys are going to come back and provide. But look, they're in a good spot with the top two guys in their rotation. Hunter Brown's going tonight, and he hasn't been as dominant in his last 4 or 5 starts. I think tonight is a pretty crucial start for him just to see if he can get back on track and get deeper into the games. Pitch efficiency has been a problem for him lately. Framber Valdez has been incredible the last 2 or 3 months. You kind of pencil him in as a guy you're going to get 6 or 7 innings out of every time they go out there. They feel comfortable with those two guys. They feel comfortable to set up man Brian Abreu. Obviously, Josh Hader at the back end has done great work, but everything behind that, there's a lot of question marks, and it's proof that with how hard they were pushing for Dylan Cease, that they know that this could go awry a little bit. I'm not saying it will, but they're putting a lot of confidence in some injured guys that have not been on a major league mound in a while to come back in a pressure-filled situation in a race for the division and get outs and get them deep into games. And that's a dangerous gamble to wage.
Chandler, last one. Let's grade it. Just give us a grade for their trade deadline. Did you do one for The Athletic?
I didn't do one myself. I'd probably give them a B plus. Look, we haven't talked about Jesus Sanchez yet. I think that's probably the biggest acquisition. Like, obviously, Carlos Correa is Carlos Correa. We're going to put him to the side for a minute, but functionally for their roster, getting Jesus Sanchez was massive. This is a lineup that has taken the fewest at bats against left-handed pitching all season. This is a lineup that is very, very right-handed. Jesus Sanchez comes in and he has something like an 814 OPS against right-handed pitching. He hits left-handed, will bring balance to their lineup while Yordan Alvarez is out, will continue to bring it once he's back. And I think more importantly, they can spell Cam Smith now in right field, because as we've watched Cam Smith really since the All-Star break, it looks like the rookie wall is approaching for him. If he's not hit it already, he's coming dangerously close to hitting it. He's up toward a workload and a threshold that he's never played before. He's never played this much. So they can now maybe put him in a semi-platoon situation, start Sanchez against a bunch of right-handed pitching, bring Cam back against some lefties. I don't think it's going to be a strict platoon in that way, but this will help Cam Smith out a bunch. It will help, managers not avoid managers just unleashing all their right-handed pitching on this all right-handed lineup. It'll give them some second thoughts as to how they deploy their pitching staff. But, I think that was a pickup that went under the radar because of what happened with Correa. But I do think because they didn't address the rotation or the bullpen, because they didn't get at least some pitching help, I would have to give it a B+. But all in all, a good deadline for Dana Brown and the Astros.
Yeah, I'm with you. Good stuff. Chandler, thanks for the time. And what a day. What a day. It was fun to watch you cover it on Twitter and in The Athletic. Thanks, man. And then, of course, yes, props to Tyler Stafford and Josh Reddick on the way out here on Crush City territory, taking over. That's Chandler Rome. You can catch him, Reddick sometimes, Stafford all the time, part of the FT Network. Check them out, YouTube, wherever you get your pods. They're great. And so are the Astros this year and every year for the past decade. Be right back. Trade grades. That's why I led to it here. We're going to do them team by team. BetMGM free game of the day on the app. It's live streaming available to a customer with a logged in funded account on betmgm.com or on the app. Yesterday, and the game is, I should tell you what the game is, I guess. Diamondbacks and A's. Diamondbacks and A's. You want to bet on that game? Go for it. Do not bet on those teams making the playoffs. Thursday's locks. We didn't have much to choose from. I did get some nice high scoring from them Cincinnati Reds. Very late. I needed that ridiculous 8th inning to get caught up, but they lost the game. So that cost the other two. Updated money bags. And AJ, want to go first?
Sure. I'm going simple today. Mariners and Brewers money line. That's plus 151. That's it. Mariners, Brewers money line. Brewers play the Nats. Logan Gilbert's pitching against the Rangers. A Jack Leiter who's been okay. Logan Gilbert needs to get it turned around, so I'm going. That's it. 151 plus 151.
Mariners are feeling themselves a little bit.
Yeah, Mariners are feeling it. They're at home.
Mm-hmm. Kratz, I heard you picked from one of those games.
Yeah, I went the run line with the Brewers. Jose Quintana versus Mitchell Parker. Mitchell Parker's he's putting up some innings this year. He's almost got a 5 ERA, and I think he's got like 120 innings with 70-some strikeouts. Gives up a lot of hits. The Brewers are going to get some hits. They might not slug a ton, but I like this matchup for the Brewers. Run line giving me plus 105.
I'll go Astros 130 to win a hundo. Hunter Brown, 2.5 ERA. Yeah, I think he's going to get himself back on track with the efficiency that Chandler Rome was talking about. Cooper Criswell on the other side, opening up the game for Boston with a 5.06 ERA. And I like vibes. The Astros bring in Carlos Correa. The Red Sox were very quiet at the deadline. It's tough to deal with them. They want guys for free. So I go 130 to win 100 on that one. That's Pap's pick, plus 173. He's got the Yankees and the Pirates. And
Pirates money line. Wow.
Yeah, that is actually surprising. I think we're going to get his explanation on the next go-round. So stay tuned. We'll do that next go-round. Yes, Pap's got his pick. He'll defend it, I guess. Who are the Pirates playing tonight? I got to look.
Rockies.
Rockies. In the Weeds, powered by Arena Club. Buy, sell, trade, open slab packs. arenaclub.com/foul. More coming up. Let's grade the trade deadline. Jim Bowden did his list. Don't show it yet, but he did his list. He gave out 5 A's, 15 B's, 7 C's, and 3 D's. AJ was very excited for my list. I gave out 6 A's, 14 B's, 8 C's, and 2 D's. A's first. I'll give you Bowden's A's. He gave the Mariners an A, the Padres an A, the Mets an A-, the Phillies an A-, and the Giants an A-.
Why the Giants? Bob had them as loser.
He really liked their returns in their deals, and he gave them credit for their trade season, which included Rafael Devers, even though the team
Even though they've been the worst team in baseball since they got him?
Right, but he likes the deal long term. The team stinks. I gave the Giants a B+ because I actually thought, they got some major league guys for Rodgers. They pivoted in the right way. They're not going to make the playoffs this year. Sell off some pieces. That's what they did. Doval still had another year, but I think you sell high. He's having a great year. So I think you got to thread the needle a little bit. I think Buster Posey entered a little bit of a mess, and he's trying to buy his way out of it, but you also still need a farm system. They did not do a great job of that. So B+ for me on the Giants. I know he gave him an A-. And besides that, Kratz, I had the Yankees with an A- to go along with the Mets and Phillies too. I mean, they fixed third. They got their 2 platoon bench guys. They got 3 bullpen arms, 2 of which could close for many teams. So are you not entertained? A-. I mean, if they get a starter, you give them the A or the A+, but that's a pretty nice deadline. He gave him a B+. So, and then last one for me where I differed to him is he had the Twins actually in the B+. I gave him an A.
I mean,
but we talked about this yesterday. They cleared their roster to get sold. And if you're a Twins fan, whatever gets your team sold fastest wins. Joe Pollad's scorched earth on the way out, or the Pollad family in general. They're hopefully about to sell the team. And the more that they can clear, the easier it makes it to do.
By the way, they're sending out season ticket renewals this year for 5% increase. Just FYI.
Increase.
Yeah,
but they're on their way out, and so they're just messing with people at this point.
I'm just saying.
I know. But if you're a Twins fan, I know it hurts that you traded 40% of your big league roster. But
come on,
the number one thing you should root for is someone new to run that ship. And it doesn't always work out that way either, but this is pretty bad, and it's been a while. So I give him an A. Where do you differ on the A's?
I mean, first of all, I'm not sure exactly how – did he give a lot of Bs out there? Is there a lot of B pluses?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he gave 15
because I was told
in
school that Bs and Cs are average, so I'm pretty happy with those. To me, I agree with you. I would have put the Tigers a little bit lower. I think they just kind of did stuff. I think they just kind of middled around. They got more guys than other teams, but to me, I would put them in more like the C plus range. Doesn't mean they're a C plus team. I think the Yankees are an A. The only reason I'm going to give them an A- is because I don't know how these guys are going to fit in New York. How does Bednar, who's only ever closed, do in a non-closer role? Is that great? Is that something that relieves some stress when you're coming to the big city? What happens if Devin Williams falls again? Luke Weaver hasn't been great since he's come back. Is Bednar that guy? Is Camilo Duvall that guy? To me, I think they got a lot of great pieces. How it works in New York, I don't know. They even upgraded their defense, which is something that I didn't think they could do, and I think they did it really well. Yankees fans eviscerated me for saying that Brian Cashman did a great job. They said, talk to me when we get a ring. I was like, well, the only way to get a ring is to actually make these moves. To me, I don't think the Braves did bad. I think the only 2 teams, if you're not giving any Fs, the only 2 teams that should get an F are the Rockies and the White Sox.
All right, well, now let's show the board, since I was only doing A's, and then Kratz gets an F for not following directions. But let's show the board. You were going through your whole list. I was just on the A's.
He lost me on the C.
Kratz gets an F. So there's one F on this
Not
board. It's all the way to the right. Kratz didn't follow directions. But anyway.
How did the Rockies get a B-? I mean, I guess they traded McMahon and Bird to the Yankees. I mean, I guess they didn't really have that much to trade, though, so. But they should be more of didn't do much.
They traded – they basically sit out most deadlines, right? They traded
Pirates should get
McMahon.
A better grade just for the fact they got someone to take a Brian Hayes.
Wait, but the
if
Rockies –
you're Bob Nutting, that's what he's saying.
Hold up. The Rockies got a B- from Bowden. I give him a B. They traded Jake Bird and Ryan McMahon. What else did you want them to do?
That's what I'm saying. That's all they had. So
it's a B. You have to do what you can work with, right?
Yeah.
So I actually thought that was fine. He said B-. I think it's a B. Pirates you asked about?
Pirates got B- on Jim's list.
They're a C for me. They held on to 3 rentals. Andrew Heaney,
They got rid of
Isaiah
Bednar.
Kiner-Falefa, Tommy Pham. The C is all on the Key Brian Hayes money dump.
And they moved Bednar.
And they moved Bednar. I don't like the return. Ben Cherington does. JB gave him a B-.
Especially if Ben Cherington says we could have got more, but we wanted these players. Don't you just get the best players available?
No. Not if you're the Pirates. You're honored to get that phone call from the Yankees.
System. They have a different evaluation system.
It's better. Their evaluation system's working better than most everyone else's. Just look at the results.
That is not something anybody said. The only other part, because I was the only person that actually turned in my homework before the show, is I did go off the rails and start talking about my Fs. But the Mets. I don't care if you give them an A- or not, but you can't have the Phillies in the same realm. I think the Mets did more than what the Phillies did. I think their additions, and I agree with what Bob said and what Bob said other GMs said, I feel like their additions in the bullpen are going to make that team a problem. And it takes so much pressure off of David Peterson, who has been pitching really well. It takes pressure off of Sean Manaea, who's coming back from injury, and he's hasn't thrown that much this year. Frankie Montas, who I think they're playing with house money with what they've gotten from him already. Kodai Senga. Like, it takes pressure off of these guys. They don't need to go long, and you're not just going to pieces in the bullpen. You're going to absolute studs, from Reed Garrett to Rogers to Helsley to Edwin Diaz. I'm forgetting something. Raley and Soto. I think the Mets, the moves they made, are a solid A, or at least above the Phillies. They can't be on the same realm as the Phillies.
Okay. I mean, I thought what the Phillies did was nice, though. They got a good outfielder, and they got a closer.
For me, I feel like they're both.
Because where else are you filling in places for the Phillies?
So for me, they're A- and not an A or an A+, because they could have gotten one more reliever. For me, there's a couple guys that you could replace, because now you have super bullpens being built, and their bullpen's good compared to those, but not great, right? There are a number of bullpens still better than theirs. For me, on the Mets, A-. They did everything they wanted to do. They didn't go overboard. Like, for me, you get the one starter on top of that, right? You get one more starter. That gets them the A or the A+. You fill your needs and then some. Okay. You fill all of your needs. You're in the A range. But that's, to me, where it differs. Like, I still had to have a separation between the Padres and the Mets. Padres are an A, Mets are an A-.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, fair.
Padres filled all their needs and then some.
Fair.
Okay.
Fair.
Yeah, Tigers for me, that's the grade that I wrote down that I probably regret. I put them at B-, and I think that they should be in the C range. Bowden put them at B. For me, it's a ton of quantity, but no high leverage reliever, no guaranteed high leverage reliever, and no right-handed bat. So I actually regret my B-. I'd like to give them a C or a C+.
That's fine.
Bowden gave thank you. Bowden gave the Orioles a B+. He liked their returns. You know what was interesting when I started digging through their returns, Kratz? Mostly A-ball guys. 17-year-old shortstop Wilfred De La Cruz, 19-year-old righty Boston Bateman, 20-year-old shortstop Cobb Hightower. Man, they must feel like they're... I'm not surprised. It's just he must have assurance. That front office must have assurance that they're good. They're fine.
Yeah.
Because some people are like, oh, well, Elias is gone after this season. I don't think so.
No.
He's staying.
Not with those trades.
Elias say he really likes his team going forward? He's disappointed with his – what did he say? He's disappointed with the trade deadline, but right here. After an incredibly busy deadline for the Orioles, Elias is unhappy with how the season has gone, but he's happy with the group of players he's acquired. We're sorry 2025 has gone this way, but
see you next year. That's all.
Next year.
Yeah, they said see you
next
year.
We have lots of prospects again, guys. Get excited for 5 years from now.
My 5-year plan has readjusted. Sorry, the big league guys, or whatever you want to call them. I don't really care what they do, because I just allotted myself 5 more years. Only A-ball guys.
Yep. Got to wait until those guys prove themselves until you evaluate me. Bowden had a C+ for the Cardinals. I gave him a B. They traded their rental guys. Phil Maton, Ryan Helsley, Steven Matz. They kept their longer-term guys, which I think they should.
They could have maybe moved a catcher.
Okay. But that's why B. B for me makes sense. I thought C+ from him was too harsh.
Okay.
Dodgers, he gave him a B+. I gave him a B. I mean, there's not a ton that they need to replace. They need to get healthier. Yeah. Brock Stewart could be a high leverage guy for them.
They got rid of Outman, who was not playing for him. So.
They put in Alex Call, who I didn't realize. I mean, I knew he was having a good year, plus defense and speed, 119 OPS plus. He could be one of those guys that
Sneaky
Andrew
guys. The
Friedman's
Tommy
group
Edman
falls
from
in
last
love
year.
with. Yeah. So it's a B for me. Kratz?
Sure. I guess nothing the Dodgers can be below a B. I mean, I don't think they needed a lot. Brock Stewart's going to be awesome. He's going to throw a lot more changeups now. I think he's a changeup heater guy. And Alex Call is going to fill in for him. They didn't really need to get other guys. I joked about it, NLCS MVP, but Alex Call was playing last year. I watched a Nats game in Philly, and he plays a nice right field. I don't know where he's going to play, probably more left, maybe that platoon with Conforto that they've been trying to figure out. But it's a nice piece. B, sure. You can give him a B minus. I don't care.
Last one for me. I have the Angels and Braves as D's. I mean, Braves, you got to trade Raisel Iglesias. Somebody wanted him. If you couldn't trade Ozuna, you got to trade Raisel. Like, what are you keeping him for? He's a free agent after this year. We've gone over the White Sox a lot. You can look at other videos with Luis Robert. They get a D. He gave the Angels a D. I give him a C minus. I give him credit for not selling and trying at least. They didn't give anything up. They got Luis Garcia and Chafin. Do they have the pitching to last? I don't think so. But what they could have sold, Kenley, Taylor Ward, Tyler Anderson, I don't know how much they would have gotten. So I'm okay with it. C minus. Obviously, they didn't add, but D to me is a little too harsh.
They're just kind of there.
They're there. Yeah.
They're just kind of there.
That's what C's are for. I mean, the Red Sox and the Cubs are in the C range for me because they're there too. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They still did things. They just didn't do enough. So it doesn't give you a D. D is like you did nothing.
Or screwed up what you did.
Or screwed up what you did. That's right. arenaclub.com/foul. All the cards that you were looking at, they're on the Arena Club platform, and you can get them. And if you haven't been on the platform, use code FOUL, F-O-U-L, 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase. They're a great partner all year for us. Give them some love. Give them some support. At least check out the website and see what they've got. arenaclub.com/foul. Be right back for a longer edition of Slap Hands. We got some quotes to dissect.
What's up, my beautiful people of FT, all the people at FT Desk? What's happening? It's your boy Parlay Pat. Today is Friday, and we're going to get it on today. So look, here we go. We got the Yankees. We're taking them in the first leg. In the second leg, we're going to take the Pirates just because they playing the Rockies. And the Senzatella, he's pitched. He's got like a 10 ERA this year, so that's a lot. We just need Rodon to come through today for the Yankees, pitch good, and we win this Friday cheese for the weekend. Let's get it.
Let's get it on. Good stuff. Thanks, Pap. And you can win a share of $100,000 in bonus bets if your home run pick hits the longest bomb of the night. It's the King of Swing. And it also now includes parlays, minimum of $10 on a player or players with the longest home run of the day to win your share of $100,000 in bonus bets. No opt-in necessary. Just apply your Big Fly Friday qualifying token that is dropped into your account to use on the first player or players that you take to hit a home run every Friday. It's a great, great deal or offer. And if you like to do home run props, this is the spot to do it, because you have a chance to win way more than just your home run prop. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Got a minute or two to run through a couple questions and a bunch of Instagram DMs yesterday. First of all, KT sent a super chat, and I said, we didn't catch it, but she just said, giving us love for everything we do. Can't say enough about the whole team behind the scenes, about the show yesterday. Julian said, not sure your guests are today, but one question I thought of. What will happen with player contracts and service time if there's a lockout in 2027? If they miss the entire season, you lose the money and the service time. That's how it works. And last one here, Patty said, as a Yankees fan, love to hear your take on fielding woes. Do teams practice fielding during the grind of the season?
Nope,
Does it vary by player?
Never practice. Never. They just show up and play. Never practice anything, right, Kratz?
Every single day. Never practice. A lot.
He never took ground
practice
balls.
A lot.
They just never. They practice all the time, every day.
Every day.
Every day. There is not if there's a fielder that does not practice their practice their craft, it's probably an outfielder. Even to this day, though, like there's value in throwing. Like dudes get it done. They get balls off the wall. Shortstop get their ground balls. If you're in Group 2, take 10 to 15 minutes during Group 1, and you get your ground balls right to you, to your left, turn 2, to your right.
All right, let's slap. I do want to get to the Craig Beslow quote. That's the one we didn't get to, and that's what he said. And that one, you can't let that one go. The Red Sox, there's two. The Red Sox got uncomfortably aggressive in pursuit of real impact players. But in the end, they settled for lower profile moves. That one from Tim Healy, but from the Craig Beslow press conference. Uncomfortably aggressive. It was so uncomfortable that they actually didn't get the guys. And Jen McCaffrey from The Athletic said that they reached out to the Twins on Joe Ryan, but were unwilling to offer any of their big league outfielders. Okay. Or an enticing enough package of their top tier prospects, according to sources. It's a great article that she put together. Unless you're a Red Sox fan, you will lose your mind if you read that article. It is so frustrating to hear all of the quotes. I understand the frustration, really young, exciting club, blah, 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 right? And Correa even called them out towards the end of the first half. He's like, they're like, how do you prevent a second half swoon? And he's like, we make big pickups. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but he said it. He's like, we make big pickups, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't.
No, they did not.
Yeah.
Custom A. Steven Matz.
That's it. That's all they did.
I'm aware. That's why Red Sox fans are super duper happy right now.
Yeah, they said not even, I mean, most said not even close with what they threw out there.
So basically,
the problem is
they were hoping teams would just give them their best players.
Yeah, and
what was it?
What?
Awkwardly aggressive? What was it?
Uncomfortably aggressive. Here's the
what
quote.
What does that even mean?
After the Devers deal, Beslow said, I think we've talked a lot about looking to the future. At some point, the future has to be now. Sorry, I spit out my drink. The future is now or 26?
They're going full throttle.
Yeah. The fifth inning.
Wow.